Welcome back to Razmafsar TV. Today I'm going to show you Spontoon hawk. What is Spontoon hawk? As you see, the shape tells what it is, and I'm going to describe it. This Spontoon hawk is one which was commissioned 15 years ago by Hudsonbay company. In spite of the name, it's a German company which specializes in different things used by Native Americans, among them weapons, among them tents and other things, and also the way they dresses, clothes and so. And this hawk was commissioned among other weapons by, as I say, Hudsonbay in India. And back then this was commissioned, the company in India, Windlass company, and everything was measured by the owner. The owner told me he measured this and gave these measurements and design to be made by Windlass. And later I assume Windlass continued with the design, as you know, the design which is common on the market. This one I really like the shaft as well, because the shaft is file branded, and then it's a pipe tomahawk. Now I'm going to explain first of all back to Spontoon. To begin with, there are two different types of Spontoon hawks. One of them is a piped one, which is a piped Spontoon hawk. Another one is a simple Spontoon hawk. Simple means it lacks a pipe on it. Now, if we come and look at the shape where Spontoon comes from, actually Spontoon was a pole arm used by commissioned officers on foot in 18th century. If you take a look at it, it is actually resembles more a partisan than a Spontoon. And partisan was used more in that area, in that region, 16th and 17th century, but Spontoon 18th century. As I said, the shape resembles more partisan. If you take a look at it, the varieties now, let me just look at the Spontoon. Spontoon, another names for it is fleur de lis, which is a French term, and as you know, this is this French lily, and which was also used in different parts. I mean, the design of French lily, and they also say that it has the shape of fleur de lis, and there it comes the French association of this, and many assume that the French introduced this hawk in the United States of America, because it was a trade axe. As you know, metal axes mostly were traded by European settlers and sold to Native Americans, because Native Americans used mostly stone. Now back to this, so it's called also the French type hawk because of fleur de lis, as I mentioned that. It is also called, this has also a diamond shape and dagger shaped hawk because of the shape of it. This one has a weeping heart cut into the blade, as you see that. And now when we come here and take a look at these flanks, it has two flanks. On this example, you see the flanks, there are two types, comes and goes back here towards the shaft of the axe, making a loop. And you have two loops. Others, they bend towards the point, towards the blade. Sometimes, here you see, there are specimens, many of them are like that, so they don't, they just almost meet, but there is like, there is a gap here, but some of them even are forged and making a hole, right? Some of them, the holes even, there's no hole, so they're just like a rounded bases here. Some of them, even these rounded bases or these loops lack altogether, but the shape of a Spontoon is there. Some Spontoon hawks have this shape of the heart, weeping heart. Some of them don't. Now, back to it, the materials which originally were used. This one, which I have in my hands, which was commissioned by Hudsonbay, is made of steel. And it comes actually sharp, not very sharp. It doesn't need to be sharp. I'm going to explain why. But I used professional sharpening stones, which I used for swords, and sharpened it a bit. It's a good one. Original ones mostly were made of iron. What does it mean mostly made of iron? Because you don't need to have a steel. Some of them were made of low-grade steel, and they were all weapons. Why do you need a high-grade steel with a good edge? Because you need that type of blade if you want to use the axe to cut. And these axes were not meant to cut wood or use as an instrument and tool like the other hawks were. These type of axes were used as weapons, and iron for Native American uses were enough, and it could penetrate the shape. You can see that it's just you can penetrate everything you wish with that. And then later on we have also some examples made of pewter and also copper, but they were mostly ceremonial. They were mostly of ceremonial uses. So now back to the French fleur-de-lis and the French connection. The beginning of them, there were great shores of the Great Lake. Most of them were the French heavily traded and were present. Louisiana, and there you could see lots of these traded axes there, and also Lake Champlain, where the French influence was very heavy. But later on, when the British actually in 1763, especially those made after 1763, were mostly English, because English smiths made them and used them for trade with Native Americans, and later on Americans made it as well, and also Canadians made them. So not all of them, although they're called French type as well, mean that they were all made by French smiths. These ones, as you see, as I mentioned, that has also there are two turkey feathers and also trade beads. You see that, made of metal and also glass and also shell partly here. The pipe here is functional, and I'm going to show it to you. And as I mentioned, that I'm sure I'm going later on to do some tests with it, but I am pretty sure it can, it can really penetrate anything. It's very handy and quite heavy, tip heavy, but they're all axes have to be this way, and is a very good axe. So here you can take a look at the axe. So it's on a stance now. You can take a look at it, and it's a blade. At the blade, you see, okay, the blade has a whipping hard. As you can see, there are also some hardening marks because I polished and etched it in the edge. First, take a look at the pipe, and you see these flanks which are looped towards the haft. And okay, here you see the feather, turkey feather, and here you see what I like about this haft, the shaft. The axe shaft is really sturdy, so it's really good what I like about it. And you can see that, okay, there are just wrapping of leather holding these two feathers with trade beads there. And here you see also the end of the shaft, axe shaft. And here you can take a look at the whole axe again. Here we can see it. You can see the whole axe from the other side. And yeah, here you see, yeah, again, you can see the pipe from the other side, and also the feathers, and also the trade beads, and the rest of them. See, here is the shell. And as I said to you, this is like file marks on it, and branded. And here we can see pipe. You can put the tobacco inside it and light it, and here on the other side, so you can smoke it. You see how it works? And it's actually a Nicaraguan cigar which is placed into it. Just a normal cigar. I mean, you can, of course, it's not meant to put a cigar. You can put tobacco inside for a pipe, but here is just something to just show it to you. Okay, in case you were wondering, this is the cigar which was used from Nicaragua. Now we move to the next one. The book is An American Indian Tomahawks by Harold Peterson. I really recommend this book. I mean, the best book on the topic you can really find. Look at the upper left, for example, axe. This is from 1850 to 1880. The tribe is unknown. In the middle is a Spontoon pipe tomahawk, Winnebago, attributed to Winnebago. And then if you go to the upper right, for example, is a Spontoon pipe tomahawk, Seneca, right? Is from 18 to 1810. And there's just some examples I wanted to show here to you. And here you see the book shows other examples of all those Spontoon hawks. I mean, I'm just showing some pictures. And as I mentioned it before, it's not only Spontoon hawks which you can see in this book. There are different type of hawks you can see there. Here you see that. And another book is Native American Weapons by Colin Taylor. You can buy on the subject. So this was about the Spontoon axe, and you could take a look at it. And this Spontoon axe, and also as I said to you, I'm really a big. I love different types of hawks and the tomahawks and Spontoon hawks, and also in general other types like Missouri hawks and so. But Spontoon is by far, I really would like to say, is a favorite type of axe as far as North American or Native American axes are concerned. Thank you for watching this channel.